Hi, I'm Mary Colbert, and welcome to Dr. Colbert's podcast, Divine Health.
Well, today we're continuing on my new book, Beyond Keto, Mary. And last time you talked about your journey, and it was fascinating how you were able to lose the weight, you were able to get the vision of yourself, and you outlined the steps of what you did exactly and how you achieved your blessing, your
Yeah,
goal weight.
the real secret here is your determination has to be stronger than your flesh. When your determination is stronger than your flesh, I truly believe you can do all things through
Amen.
Christ.
But Mary, there's some tremendous benefits. A lot of people are saying, well, why did you write this book? Didn't you write Keto Zone a few years ago? Well, yes, I did. And the keto diet or Keto Zone diet is a powerful diet, but I found that there's some problems with the keto diet. There's too much saturated fat. We're going to discuss these problems and some benefits too, but also we're going to discuss the Mediterranean diet. We're going to discuss the benefits with that and the problems with that too. So what I did is I combined the best of the keto with the best of the Mediterranean diet, and we made it the Beyond Keto or the Mediterranean Keto diet, which is a lifestyle we can follow for life that literally helps prevent almost every chronic disease and reverse many or most of these diseases. So first we want to start with a scripture, and this is Psalms 103, starting with verse 2. It says, "Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits, who forgives all thine iniquities, who heals all thy diseases, who redeemeth thy life from destruction, who crowneth thee with loving kindness and tender mercies, who satisfieth thy mouth with good things, so that thy youth is renewed like the eagles." And that's exactly what this program does. Your youth will be renewed like the eagles. You say, wait, I'm 75 years old. Well, watch your youth become renewed like the eagles, because what this does, this unleashes the healing power in your body. And the body was meant to live to be about 120 years old. We're seeing now in science. And so, again, I believe this program, the Mediterranean Keto, will unlock your ability to live at least to 100 or more, but hopefully up to 120 for the people who want to. In fact, the new science is telling us that it's not going to be unusual in the next decade or so for people to live to be 120 or more. So that's what we're seeing, but I really feel this is the key to it. Now, first of all, let's talk about some of the benefits of keto, and then we're going to talk about the benefits of the Mediterranean diet and some of the problems with keto. Well, first of all, the main benefit from keto that I see is weight loss. And I've been doing keto in patients since early 2000s, and one of the main things I see is weight loss, especially burning belly fat. However, if you're taking in 2,400 calories or more, it's going to be a real slow weight loss. And women, if you're taking in 2,000 calories or more, it's going to be a real slow weight loss. You usually have to dial your calories back, men, to about 2,000, and women, you have to dial yours back to around 1,600, sometimes 1,500, and in my wife's case, all the way down to 1,000.
Well, I didn't want to drag it on.
Or else it's going to take you a long time. So you don't
right.
want to wait,
And
then you
I
got
wanted
to
to get
add the
back on.
exercise to it. But also one of the big things that the keto diet does is blood sugar control, especially good for those people who are type 2 diabetics, and we are seeing an epidemic of type 2 diabetes in this country, but also insulin resistance. We now know that anyone who's obese, which is at 42.4%, are also insulin resistant. So we know about 50% of the population now is going to have insulin resistance, which means elevated blood sugar or prediabetes. And you become a COVID magnet when you are pre-diabetic or diabetic. But what we find is keto diet lowers your sugars, carbs, and starches so that you start to have much better blood sugar control. And many times, for many of my diabetics, type 2, not type 1, but type 2 diabetics, they're able to come off their meds, or they're able to literally reverse their diabetes. Now, sometimes we have to put them on a few key supplements, like I use my diaxanol that are nutrients for blood sugar control, or berberine, or some other key nutrients that help. But it's amazing how the keto diet is wonderful for blood sugar control. It also lowers triglycerides. This is one of the key things I have found with the keto diet. Triglyceride levels plummet if you follow the program. absolutely amazing how we've had people with triglycerides over 500. Now they're down to 100 or less with just following the program. Usually we'll have to add some fish oil to it. Some people need as little as 2,000 milligrams. Some people as little as 1,000 milligrams of fish oil a day. Some people need as much as 5,000 milligrams a day. But combining those two, the keto diet using healthy fats, not lots of saturated fats, but healthy monounsaturated fats like seeds and nuts and olive oil and avocado oil, we're usually able to get those triglycerides down. But the biggest thing is cutting way back on the sugars, carbs, and starches. One of the big things that the keto diet does, it reduces one's risk of Alzheimer's disease. High blood sugar is literally triggering so much of what we call type 3 diabetes or Alzheimer's disease. Insulin resistance to the brain cells. The brain cells cannot take up glucose. And so there's many causes of Alzheimer's, but high blood sugar is one of them. But what we find is when you are in ketosis, nutritional ketosis, it supplies the brain with a different fuel, which are ketone bodies and fatty acids. And the brain works better on ketones. And we also have keto support products like our instant ketones, and we'll soon have our instant ketone capsules, which I'm real excited about because you can just take a couple of capsules with each meal and it puts you right into ketosis. So very exciting. Now also, the keto diet prevents cancer. Cancer thrives on sugar and carbs and starches. When you cut the sugar down, you literally are helping your body become cancer resistant. So real important. And I used to put so many of my patients with advanced cancers on the keto diet many years ago. And you say, why don't you do it now? Because now I'm not treating as many cancer patients. I'm treating mainly just all kinds of health problems. It also prevents heart disease. Why? Because it usually lowers triglycerides, lowers blood sugar, lowers belly fat, lowers inflammation, and as a result, it prevents heart disease. It also will help tremendously with certain diseases like polycystic ovaries. Mary, I have had so many women over the years with polycystic ovaries. These patients usually have belly fat, insulin resistance. They don't have normal periods, and they usually are sugar addicts. They love sugar, carbs, and starches. When they go on the keto diet, and I've had some of the worst polycystic ovary patients, they have literally reversed their polycystic ovaries. Now, if they go back to eating the sugar, carbs, and starches, it comes back. But if they can stay on a keto diet or a Mediterranean keto diet, boom, it literally prevents it.
That's amazing, Don. I truly believe that every disease, God has an answer for. I don't care what you're battling. I don't care what you're struggling. God has an answer. And do you know, Don, many times it's in the diet.
It's the food.
And
we're inviting it in. And these foods are so convenient. They're fast foods. They're on every corner. They're snack foods. They're junk foods. And they're literally meant to stimulate the five senses so we can't eat just one. But another disease that's so easy to reverse, that's so common, and it's such an epidemic level in this country, is a fatty liver. I check liver enzymes on every patient, and literally I would say about 1 in every 4 to 5 have a fatty liver. No problem. All we do is put them on a keto. I'd use now the Mediterranean keto diet with lots of olive oil, but it's amazing how it reverses fatty liver. And we have a few other supplements we use, like our high phenolic olive oil or oleokanthals. It helps tremendously. But also acid reflux, Mary. I see an epidemic of acid reflux, heartburn, indigestion. And a lot of times people get that old cough associated with reflux. I just had a lady in my office 2 days ago, and she had severe reflux. She says, I've been having this hacky cough. Could that be from my reflux? And I said, absolutely. I hear this all the time. But when we get that belly fat off, it's usually the reflux self-corrects. I've seen this thousands of times, and people are so amazed. The biggest thing it does, though, is it fuels the brain and it defuels cancer. So that is simply the keto diet. But now we talk about the Mediterranean diet. What are the benefits? Again, I love Psalms 103, bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits. Well, listen to these benefits. The benefits of the Mediterranean diet, first of all, cardiovascular protection. This one study a few years back called the Pcbs trial of men and women over 7,000 men and women between the ages of 55 and 80 that were at high risk of heart disease. They divided these people into three groups, Mary. One group, they put them on a Mediterranean diet. You know, a Mediterranean diet is a healthy diet with lots of veggies, lots of healthy fruits, also fish and olive oil and nuts and seeds and beans and peas and lentils, and occasionally red wine. And then they also took away a lot of the red meat and saturated fats and pork and processed meats and carbs and bad carbs and starches and junk foods. And they also put them on 1 liter of olive oil a week. They had to take in a liter of olive oil a week.
Incredible.
1 liter. Now people say, a liter a week? No, not a liter a month or two. No, a liter a week. That's a lot of olive oil.
That's crazy.
But that's great. And also the second group, they put them on the same Mediterranean diet, but they put them on an ounce of nuts a day. You say, what kind of nuts? Well, almonds and pecans and those type of nuts, which is about 2 tablespoons of nuts.
That's about what I do.
A handful of nuts.
Every day.
Every day. The third group, they simply had them follow a low-fat Western diet, similar to the American Heart Association diet. Now, what happened after a few years on this program, they found that those in the first 2 groups, the Mediterranean diet with either olive oil, a liter of olive oil a week, or an ounce of nuts, which is about 2 tablespoons of nuts a day, they found that their risk of all cardiac events and stroke decreased by 30%. They were blown away.
Wow, so imagine
30%.
doing both, do the olive oil and the nuts.
That's all cardiac events.
That's
all
60%.
And then the results were so dramatic, the study was stopped early, 1 year early, and all the people on a low-fat diet were put on the Mediterranean diet.
Yeah.
But that's the cardiovascular protection it gives. And heart disease is the #1 killer in this country. Yet very few people are using these powerful olive oils and these powerful nuts that protect us against
Yeah,
it.
I take our Oleokanthal in capsules.
Well, that's the most powerful of all
I take
olive
that
oils.
every day, 2
And you say,
capsules.
what is Oleokanthal? Well, I discuss it in detail in my book, Beyond Keto, but also on our first podcast on Beyond Keto. But in short, Oleokanthal is the early harvested olive oil. It's only present in certain regions of the world. One of the regions is Sparta, Greece. And so we got our oleokanthals from Sparta, and it's real high in oleokanthals. But also we found that the Mediterranean diet will decrease memory decline and brain atrophy. In other words, it protects you against Alzheimer's disease. The Mediterranean diet, according to the Nurses' Health Study, which is a huge study with tens of thousands of women, they found that it promotes healthy aging, which is defined as women living to be 70 or older and having no chronic disease or decline in health. And they found that the Mediterranean diet, that people who followed that have longer telomeres. Telomeres are the ends of the chromosomes, and the shorter your telomeres, they shorten with age. The older you get, the shorter the telomeres get. But the Mediterranean diet literally protected those telomeres from shortening. Isn't that amazing? In other words, it promoted longevity.
Yeah.
So it's great for longevity. Also, it's anti-inflammatory. It decreases the risk of Alzheimer's disease, cancer, and heart disease, and slows aging. So when you combine the keto with the Mediterranean diet, you get all the benefits of the keto diet, such as the blood sugar control, such as the belly fat burning, the lower triglycerides, the lower Alzheimer's risk, the lower cancer risk, the lower heart disease risk, the lower blood pressure, the stroke prevention, and the PCOS, GERD, and fatty liver, and along with the tremendous cardiovascular protection, the Alzheimer's protection, and the memory, brain protection. Is that not amazing, Mary?
Yeah, it's just, Don, it is so amazing because God's answers are always very simple. And we have to have help to
We had to
mess
miss
it
it.
up.
I know we do.
Really, just to mess it up. Have to have someone help you misunderstand. And so his answers are just so simple and just a matter of following it.
Right. Now, again, we start people off on a keto program, especially if you want to lose weight. We do mainly the keto portion, but a healthy keto. And you say, well, what's a healthy keto? Well, what I found back in 2017, I wrote the book in 2016, 2017, when people started taking the keto, more people shifted eating lots of cheese, lots of dairy, pouring tons of cream in their coffee, a lot of saturated fat, a lot of coconut oil, a lot of fried foods, a lot of bacon and sausage and fatty meats. We have to minimize those because those are inflammatory to your body. That's not part of the Mediterranean diet. That's part of the standard American diet that invites inflammation and disease into the body. And you say, well, how'd you find this? I thought that those fats are good for you. Well, a little bit's okay, about 10 grams of saturated fat a day, which is about a tablespoon of butter max a day, or cream, or coconut oil a day, or MCT oil. My preference is MCT oil because it tends to increase your good HDL cholesterol. But we find more than that will actually start to raise your cholesterol. So instead, we find certain fats lower your cholesterol, such as olive oil, avocado oil, nuts and seeds. They lower cholesterol. Fiber lowers cholesterol beautifully. So those people that were on the keto diet with lots of dairy and high saturated fats were developing more inflammation. Dairy is inflammatory for most people because the casein A1. But feta cheese used in the Mediterranean diet is not inflammatory. So if you could shift to using feta cheese on your salad, or what we do is when I go to, I'll eat a pizza once a month, and we go to this little restaurant in Texas, and I have a cauliflower crust. You do, you do sometimes.
No, I always do.
Okay, good. And then I put my feta cheese on there instead of mozzarella cheese, because feta cheese, when I would eat cheese, I used to get so much congestion, and I could not breathe at night. And you used to say I'd snore at night, or I'd stop breathing. I think I probably had a little sleep apnea due to my nasal congestion from the cheese. But when I stopped eating cheese and started eating feta cheese, it no longer happened. I quit snoring. I sleep so much better. My energy went through the roof, and I go into that deep restorative sleep. So many of my patients are eating cheese. It could be cheddar, it could be Parmesan, it could be Swiss cheese, it can be mozzarella cheese. It's dairy from cow's milk. That has casein A1. That is inflaming you. You are producing mucus. Even my grandbabies have inherited this from me, and they know not to have cheese. It's amazing how Braden and Dylan and...
They treat cheese like you would rat poison.
Yeah, they say, no, Papa, that causes boogers.
Yeah, no, Mimi, I can't have
I
that.
can't have that.
It is the cutest thing. I mean, they're
They
8,
know.
10, and 12, and
And
I
they
mean,
say no cheese.
They literally, except Timmy. Timmy's okay.
Yeah,
but
he's
the
fine.
other two treat cheese like it is rat poison.
And it is, and it does the same to me. And I ignored it for the longest because I love cheese. I'd have a little bit at night for years.
See, and
but
cheese is not a weakness to me. Sugar is. Sugar was mine.
Cheese was
Carbs.
my weakness. I love cheese. But now my feta cheese and my Greek salad and with all the veggies and all the olive oil, I crave that now. I love it now. It doesn't cause any of that mucus or that congestion.
I know I can sleep so much better.
I know, poor Mary. But then
I
I think I had a mild degree of sleep apnea back then because you'd say I'd stop breathing.
I used to think when we first married, I thought I would never think about sleeping in another bedroom away from you, dear.
Yep.
I'm like, never. I can't imagine ever thinking that way. I'd see couples older, sleep in separate bedrooms. And man, I got to tell you, one day I was like, I get it.
Right.
I get it. You want to sleep. Sleep becomes real desperate.
Well,
so I'm thankful you're not doing it anymore, and I get to sleep.
But that's because I laid the cheese, the regular cheese, on the altar. Now I'll have some goat cheese or sheep cheese or feta. Feta is a combination of sheep and goat. 70% sheep, 30% goat. And I tell you, my body loves that. And it really, I don't eat it by the chunk. I just crumble up a little, put it in my Greek salad
or
with olive oil and with all the veggies in it. And it's absolutely delicious and it's very filling. Then I don't have to eat near as much. Now, you say, well, why also is saturated fat so bad? It not only raises cholesterol, but it also, we're finding about our GI tract back over a year ago, I wrote the book, The Gut Zone, and it shined a lot of light on this LPS, lipopolysaccharide. These are gram-negative bacteria that live in our guts. All of our guts have it. But what happens, these gram-negative bacteria die, and part of the fat component of the cell membrane, the LPS, causes an inflammatory properties when it's created in excess. And especially if we eat a lot of saturated fat, this little LPS rides and hides on saturated fat. So what you're doing is when you eat a lot of butter or cream or cheese or coconut oil or bacon or sausage or fried foods, you are increasing your LPS. That's increasing inflammation in your gut, in your body, and in your brain. The LPS literally travels in through the blood-brain barrier into your brain, and we now know that Alzheimer's patients have about 3 times more LPS in their brains. That's highly inflammatory. It's inflaming your brain. So too much saturated fat, you are asking for brain inflammation and eventually memory loss. So that was major news for me years ago, and that's when I really decreased my saturated fat because Alzheimer's runs in my family. And so that's why you want to protect your brain. Your brain's extremely important. As you age, you don't want to end up in a nursing home with Alzheimer's.
And you know something, I just have to interject here real quick. Many times it's not even in your genes that you're inheriting, it's your family's way of eating.
Yes, absolutely right.
You've inherited their dietary choices. So if you're raised under eating the wrong fats or eating cheese or eating things that promote some of the genetic weaknesses you have, when in fact what's happening is it's not necessarily you're destined to get it. If you choose to eat that lifestyle, then you are choosing to get it. And so you had to make a change.
Absolutely right, Barry. Also, you know, when you eat a lot of meat, when you eat a lot of dairy, a lot of cheese, these are high in saturated fat, you're also getting a toxin, and it's PCBs. And PCBs are toxins that have been banned in the U.S. since 1979, but they collect in the soil and the water. And what happens is these literally accumulate in animals in their fatty tissue. So when you eat animal fat, be it cheese, be it cream, be it butter, fatty meats, bacon, sausage, fatty steaks, fatty hamburgers, you are getting PCBs. And PCBs, polychlorinated biphenyls, are toxins that actually cause adverse reproductive and developmental effects, increased cancer risk, obesity, type 2 diabetes, adverse cardiovascular events, and even neurological effects. But the best way to avoid PCBs is to eat more grass-fed, low-fat meats and low-fat, wild-caught fish, not farm-raised fish, and less dairy. Fatty meats, including burgers and bacon and sausage and butter and cheese and cream and farm-raised fish, contain these PCBs. Now, your PCBs are stored in your fatty tissue and accumulate in your body. That's why we've got to decrease, another reason we need to decrease our saturated fat. So what we found is the regular keto diet was introducing all of these toxic fats and this LPS and these foods that raise cholesterol. So they're inviting disease into our body. So we want to minimize these and use the healthy fats, the God-made fats, the avocado oil, the olive oil, the seeds, the nuts, and less and more grass-fed meats rather than these meats and cheeses and butters and creams and even coconut oil that are high in saturated fats. So that's what we found, and that's what separates us is we use a healthy keto diet using healthy fats, healthy proteins, and lots of veggies. But then we combine it with the Mediterranean. And the Mediterranean key is add those healthy fish. So we talk about the types of fish you should eat like every 3 days a week. I have wild-caught salmon, one of my favorite foods. People say, well, what's your favorite food? What'd you rather have than anything? Mary's salmon that she cooks on the grill with garlic, that minced garlic, and with olive oil. You coat it with olive oil, you put minced garlic on it, and then you put lemon.
Sea salt.
And you don't cook it to death, and you put some sea salt on there. And when you cook it where it's just moist, oh my goodness, there is nothing that I know that tastes better than that fresh Alaskan salmon that is just red, deep red, full of those wonderful omega-3s. You don't cook the life out of it. You don't fry it. You grill it lightly under low heat. and it's so nice and moist and full of flavor, and I love to squeeze that
I
lemon
will
on.
have to cook you some.
Oh,
It's
that's
been a
my favorite.
while.
But also for breakfast, at least 3 days a
Didn't
week,
know
I'll have
that.
wild salmon. I'll have wild
Uh-huh.
salmon 3 days a week, and
Yeah,
have
you
my
do.
half an avocado. And so we teach you simple recipes that are tasty and filling.
You know, let me just tell you, if you think you've heard everything, you just need to know this book is so power packed and full of good nuggets. There's just no way we can take everything that's in this book and put it in a podcast. I mean, we would have to do probably 30 podcasts on just this, but we can't do that. So you've got to get a hold of this book to do this and get the information. And you can get the book Beyond Keto from our website, drcolbert.com, or you can go to amazon.com, or you can go to any of the bookstores and get it. This is his newest book, and this is really going to help people. You've done the keto and you maybe fell off the wagon, so to speak, and you've put weight back on, and you're thinking, oh, I just don't want to go back to that again. Well, we've given you an answer that you can live on. This is a dietary program that is
It's a
full of
lifestyle program, too.
lifestyle
Yeah.
choices. You learn this, meditate on this, make it a part of your life, and you will never have a weight loss program again. But I got to tell you, even as healthy as it is, there are a couple of things you're still going to have to do as exercise.
Yes,
You're still going to
absolutely.
have to restrict your amount of calories you take in, because a lot of this is good food, but you can still eat too much of the good food.
That's right.
So you're going to have to exercise restraint and control over your flesh. You're going to have to move your body. You're going to have to burn some calories. I know people don't want to hear that, but that's your choice.
And you got to eat before 6.
Eat before
And
6.
don't eat late at night. If you do, take fiber, or especially our fiber zone.
At least 5 nights out of the week. You know, I understand people
Yeah,
go
sure,
out
on the
on Friday
weekend. That's
night or
fine.
Saturday night.
Right.
But 5 nights out of the week, you really need to keep your diet where you're not eating late, past 6 o'clock.
Right. Now,
And your weight will stay the same. You'll stay healthy.
Right.
You'll actually,
well, now you have to add more carbs, sweet potatoes
Yeah.
and healthy carbs, some pressure cooked beans or peas or lentils or hummus. But Mary, the people are saying, what makes this different from the keto diet? Well, there's 3 key additions we put with the Mediterranean keto. It's still keto, but it helps you burn the fat. But number 1, we add more veggies, lots more veggies. Veggies are one of the most powerful things in protecting us from every disease. Also, much more fiber. Most people, only 5% of people get enough fiber in their diet. And so women need 25 grams of fiber a day. Men need 38 grams of fiber a day. So we really
why
load
can't
you up
it
with
just
fiber.
be women need 38?
Well,
That is
38's
so
a lot.
unfair.
They need 25. You only need 25.
Yeah, no, 25 is not much.
Well, the more you eat, the better. And then what we also have added is the omega-3. So many Americans are deficient in omega-3s. Fish. And that's one of the key components of the Mediterranean diet that protects us, gives us that cardiovascular protection, that protects our brain. So it's so important to get the omega-3s. So we instead of, a lot of people don't like fish, so we just at least will get them on the omega-3 supplement. But then the other 3 things are the big subtractions to the keto diet that we take away. We take away the inflammatory fats, like the excessive saturated fats. Just a little saturated fat's all you need. And then we also take away the farm-raised fish that's full of the toxins, the Pcbs, excuse me. And then we also, if people have that gene, that Alzheimer's gene, we have to go a step further. And so many people are starting to get memory loss, and that's why the book I'm doing this year is the Brain Zone. And so we are finding that we need to check to see if you have that genetic marker for Alzheimer's, that ApoE4 gene. If you have
Say that
it,
again.
the ApoE4, ApoE4 is the number 4 gene. If you have it, we can prevent that gene
From flipping.
well, it's like flipping a switch.
Yeah.
When you eat a
It's a
lot of
blood test.
saturated fats,
Mhm.
when you drink alcohol, it literally starts to degenerate your brain.
Yeah.
So we show you what to do to protect your brain.
That's awesome.
And
That's
so that's
awesome.
extremely important. So again, that's my book for next year. And then so important, how to prevent the keto flu, how to prevent low blood sugar. When you're making that shift from burning sugar and carbs and starches to burning fat as your fuel, we teach how to do it so you don't get stuck in the keto flu or low blood sugar where you lock your keys in the car. And we
What?
do
And they're
that.
sitting there going, "What's he mean, keto flu?" Don't even tell them. They
Okay, I
have to
won't
get the
tell them.
book.
It's in my
It's
book.
in the
I'll
book.
discuss it. But
Yeah.
again, your scripture is Psalms 103. And it's bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits. We talked about a lot of the benefits of the Mediterranean diet and the keto diet. Who forgives all thine iniquities, who heals all thy diseases. And again, I find that the Beyond Keto, Mediterranean keto diet literally prevents pretty much every disease we can think of. And I think it's the key to living to be 100 or older. So God bless you to your health. We'll see you next time.
God bless you. We love you. Walk in divine health.
Amen.